The man who sold his tools, he sold his only business to send his kids to school. What happened next shocked the whole village. What kind of father sells everything he owns just to send his children to school? This powerful African folktale tells the emotional story of Papa Chuks, a poor mechanic who gave up his only business, the village forge, to invest in his children's future. But no one could predict what would happen next. From betrayal to bravery, secret spears to city councils, this tale is packed with suspense, twist, and deep African wisdom. Watch till the end, you will cry, cheer, and believe in the power of sacrifice. Set in the heart of Umuoko Village, this story brings tradition, culture, and family honor to life with rich storytelling. In a small rural town in Africa, a poor but hardworking man named Papa Chuks sells his only mechanical business shop to send his children to school. What starts as a noble sacrifice soon turns into a suspense-filled journey involving betrayal, lost dreams, a hidden treasure, and a test of a father's faith. Set in the village of Umuoko, the tale explores African values of sacrifice, family, education, and community, with twists no one will expect. Papa Chuks sat on a wooden bench outside his old shop. The iron door creaked each time the wind blew. Inside were his tools, some rusty, some still sharp, each with a memory. Papa Chuks had 5 children. Mama Ada, his wife, sold roasted corn by the roadside. But with school fees rising, even her small business could not feed all 5 children and still send them to school. One night, while the rain tapped the roof like fingers drumming, Papa Chuks turned to Mama Ada. "I will sell the shop," he said. "Let the children go to school." Mama Ada cried. "That shop is your life. How will we eat?" "I will find another way," he whispered. "A man must plant trees he may never sit under." A young man from the city came. His name was Nduka. He wore shiny shoes and smelled of perfume. "I will buy it," Nduka said. "But cheap." Papa Chuks packed the tools into an old sack. One by one, he kissed them goodbye. "You fed me for 20 years, he said to his hammer. "Now feed my children." Chisholm, the eldest son, wore a uniform for the first time. "Papa, I will make you proud," he said. The others smiled, clutching their books like treasure. Without his shop, Papa Chuks worked as a laborer. He mixed cement, carried blocks, and fetched water for builders, anything to earn coins. Mama Ada began to keep some roasted corn aside every evening. She dried them and stored them in a clay pot. "One day, this pot may save us," she said. Nduka never wanted the shop for repairs. He had found an old map inside one of the drawers, something Papa Chuks had ignored. It led to a buried secret under the shop. Papa Chuks now walked to construction sites every morning, carrying nothing but his strong hands. Each time he passed by his old shop, his heart dropped, but he kept moving. Chisholm sat alone in class. Other boys laughed at his torn sandals. One boy, Junior, said, "Your father is a nobody now." Chisholm clenched his fist, but remembered Papa Chuks' words, "Wisdom wins battles that fist can't." At midnight, Mama Ada lit a small lamp, knelt beside the clay pot, and prayed. "O God of our fathers, let this corn feed us when our mouths are dry." Ndidi, Papa Chuks' second daughter, came home waving a paper. "I came first in class," she shouted. Papa Chuks smiled with tired eyes. "My daughter, your light is already shining." Nduka, the new shop owner, stopped opening the shop. Every night, villagers saw him carrying lanterns and digging inside. "Is he farming in the shop?" one boy asked. Nduka had found a torn old map hidden beneath the dusty floorboard. It had strange signs and an X behind the shop, near the mango tree. "It must be treasure," he whispered. Chisholm had a dream. In it, his father stood with glowing hands beside a giant anvil. A voice said, "He is more than what he gave up." Chisholm woke up sweating. One night, Nduka dug too deep. The ground shook. A hot wind blew, and a voice whispered, who disturbs the rest of the maker. Nduka ran, dropping his lantern. The next morning, Papa Chuks passed by and saw the broken lantern behind his old shop. He picked it up and frowned. Something is wrong here. Papa Chuks met an old man washing his feet by the stream. The man stared at him and said, "The tools you sold were only part of your power. Your hands still carry the fire." At school, Junior threw Chisholm's books in the dirt. This time, Chisholm picked them up calmly and said, "Laugh now, but I will hire you one day." The class went silent. Ndidi became friends with Adeabi, a girl from a rich family. Adeabi gave her shoes and pencils. "I like your brain," she said. "Not your clothes." Ndidi hugged her. That night, the earth shook. Houses rattled. People screamed. Behind the shop, the ground opened into a deep, dark hole. Nduka was nowhere to be found. Mama Eda's pot cracked. Dried corn spilled on the floor. But inside the pot, something golden shone. A coin. No one knew how it got there. "The gods are speaking," Mama Eda whispered. Chisholm followed the whispers of children and crept into the back of the old shop. There, he saw a tunnel with glowing walls. The air smelled like fire and metal. Inside the tunnel, strange markings lined the walls. Chisholm saw carvings of blacksmiths, warriors, and kings. At the end, a giant anvil stood, untouched for years. Nduka stumbled into the village looking pale. "Close the tunnel," he screamed. "There's something in there." The elders gathered. "What did you wake?" they asked. The elders sat under the Iroko tree. Chief Okonkwo said, "Only one family carried the flame of the maker. The blacksmith bloodline must return." They all turned toward Papa Chuks' house. That night, Papa Chuks dreamed of the anvil. It glowed and whispered, "Your son must enter. Only his hands can shape the future." He woke up with fire in his chest. Chisholm returned to the tunnel. He touched the anvil. Fire danced from his fingertips. His eyes glowed. Behind him, a voice whispered, "The maker has returned." Suspense builds. Secrets are revealed. A boy embraces his destiny. When Chisholm touched the anvil, a name burned into his mind, Obina. He didn't understand it, but he felt it was his true name. The tunnel began to shake again. The next day, Chisholm found a strange symbol on his palm, two crossed hammers with a flame. Papa Chuks saw it and gasped. "That mark, it belonged to my grandfather. You've been chosen." Dark clouds gathered over Umuoko. The village diviner, Baba Oduak, said, "The ground has spoken. If the boy does not shape the iron within 7 days, Umuoko will burn." Papa Chuks sat his children down. "My grandfather was the last flame holder of this land. I left the craft because of fear. But the power is in our blood." Beneath their old house, Papa Chuks dug out a box. Inside was a black book with red symbols. This book was bound. But it holds the secret to shaping sacred iron. The villagers, led by Chisholm and Papa Chuks, rebuilt the old forge behind the shop. Women sang, children danced, and Mama Eda lit the first fire with corn husks from her pot. Ndidi had a strange dream. She saw Chisholm forging a glowing spear while shadows tried to steal it. She drew the scene on her schoolbook. "This is coming," she said. Inside the book, Chisholm found a design for the spear of light. "This is what I must make," he said. "But I need rare metals from the forest of bones." Chisholm and Papa Chuks traveled to the forest of bones. The trees were white. Bones hung like fruits. But beneath a tree root, they found the silver ore glowing with heat. As they left the forest, dark creatures with eyes like fire chased them. Papa Chuks shouted, "Run, Chisholm. Don't look back." But Chisholm turned and saw one creature freeze at his touch. Back in the forge, Chisholm began shaping the silver ore. The flames danced higher. Sparks flew like stars. Each hammer strike echoed through the village. The blacksmith spirit that Nduka awakened appeared in the forge. But instead of attacking, it bowed. I have waited for your hand, Obina, it said. Finish what I began. Nduka, now weak and ashamed, begged the elders for forgiveness. I wanted gold, not wisdom. I disturbed what I did not understand. Chief Okonkwo nodded. Then help the boy now. The flame in the forge turned blue. It is the test of purity, Papa Chuks said. If Chisholm's heart is clean, the spear will glow. If not, it will shatter. As Chisholm hammered the last strike, the spear lit up with golden light. A voice from the fire said, "He is ready. The land is safe, for now." The clouds above Umuoko turned red. Lightning cracked across the sky. The spirit army is coming, Baba Oduak warned. And they won the spear. Ndidi, Adeebi, and the younger children formed a circle around the forge. They held sticks and sang the old song of courage. Their voices formed a wall of power. Chisholm raised the spear. If they want this, they must pass through me, he said. The spirit army charged. He slammed the spear into the ground, and everything stopped. The clouds vanished. The wind calmed. The people of Umuoko came out cheering. The earth whispered, "The Maker's bloodline has returned." And peace settled over the land. The children built a school behind the shop, Obine Forge Academy. Chisholm became its first teacher. Papa Chuks smiled. I sold tools to buy books, and gained something greater, legacy. The final journey. A rising storm. A legacy that refuses to die. Obine Forge Academy opened with 15 children. They wore brown uniforms stitched by Mama Ada. On the wall was a sign, "Knowledge is fire. Use it to build, not to burn." One morning, Chisholm received a letter with a golden seal. It was from the Great Iron Council in the faraway city of Lagos. "Come and teach us your ways," it said. A stranger entered Umuoko with metal rings on his fingers. He said nothing, but his eyes scanned the forge. At night, he whispered to the wind, "We've found the boy." Ndidi saw the red-cloaked man in her dream. He melted the spear into chains. She woke up screaming. The spear must be protected. Someone wants to turn it into evil. 3 men from the Iron Council came to Umuoko. They offered gold, machines, and big city schools. "Let Chisholm come with us. This village is too small for his gift." Papa Chuks stood tall. The seed must grow in the soil it came from. "He will not go." The crowd gasped. The councilman smiled, but it wasn't the kind smile. That night, the forge fire went cold. Even with dry wood, it refused to burn. Chisholm knelt and cried. "I've lost the flame." A whisper came, "You must find it again." Chisholm, Ndidi, and Adeebi traveled to the old lands, a place of forgotten blacksmiths. They walked for 3 days, through rivers, thick forests, and caves filled with whispers. At the top of Fire Hill, an old woman with a golden eye waited. "You seek flame, but flame first burns pride. Are you ready to be nothing before becoming something?" She led them to a silent forge. "Strike once. If your heart is proud, the hammer will vanish. If humble, the flame will return." Chisholm struck. Fire exploded from the walls. The children returned to Umuoko. Chisholm's hands burned with golden lines. He raised his hammer and fire leapt into the sky. The forge lit again. The people danced. The Iron Council met in secret. "We must take the forge by force. The power belongs in the city." They hired warriors with iron masks and poison blades. Mama Ada said, "I had a dream. The ground is crying. Prepare, my children. The enemy walks with iron shoes." The masked warriors attacked at night. They broke walls and burned houses. But the children had prepared. They poured hot sand on their feet and threw powdered pepper in the air. Chisholm raised the golden spear. It hummed like a drum. The warriors froze. "This boy carries the breath of the ancestors," one said. They ran, but not all escaped. One masked warrior was captured. Under the mask was a young boy, Obiora, from a nearby village. "They told me I'd be powerful if I helped steal the fire." Chisholm formed a group of children called the Forge Guardians. Each one learned how to shape iron, build peace, and guard the secret of the flame. Papa Chuks helped the children write the iron code: "We serve. We build. We do not take. The fire is for all, not for one." Umuoko held its biggest festival. People came from far and wide. Chisholm was given a new title, Obina the Maker. The drums sang his name. The red-cloaked man returned, but this time, he bowed. "I am not your enemy," he said. "I was once a flame holder too. I only came to see if it was true." He gave Chisholm a black stone. "If the flame ever dies again, break this stone. It will call all the makers in the world to your aid." Then he vanished. The Forge Academy now had 100 children. They built benches, tables, and tools. Children from rich and poor homes learned together. Adeabi discovered she could hear metal hum. "This iron is sad," she once said. Chisholm nodded. "Then speak life into it." She became the forger's first girlsmith. Ndidi made her first hammer with eagle feathers carved into the handle. "This one is for peace," she said. "Not for war." The Iron Council sent a new letter. "We wish to learn, not steal. Please send teachers to Lagos." Papa Chuks nodded. Now they come with open hands. Chisholm and his team traveled to cities, towns, and schools. They taught blacksmithing, leadership, and tradition. Children everywhere learned the fire's true meaning. One evening, Papa Chuks opened a small wooden box. Inside were simple tools, old, strong, and worn. He smiled. "I sold these to buy school, now I've built a future." Ndidi wrote their story in a book called The Boy with Fire in His Hands. It became a story told in schools across Africa. In the final village festival, the people danced with flaming sticks. Children ran around the forge. Chisholm raised the golden spear one last time. The crowd shouted, "Umuoko lives forever." Years passed. Chisholm grew into a wise man. But the forge never died. Each time a child held a hammer, the fire answered. And somewhere, deep underground, the anvil still whispered. The maker never left. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. Don't forget to like, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe for more powerful African stories.